Yes. Back again. Showtime. Showtime synergy. Little Jim and the holograms for you. Back again. Motown Philly back again. Coffee break with JM back again. You know what we're doing. What a little Pooh swing. Coffee break with JN and my caffeines. You know who you are, caffeines. Going off. Not too hard. Pause. Because we're 12 years old. Where's my pause at? Where my pause at? No, the hiccup. Not just off. Well, hello, guys. Welcome back to Coffee Break with JN. Yikes! I am your JN. I am your favorite friendly neighborhood poobah. I go by many names. I eliminate even the toughest stains. Your friend and mine, Jamar Nicholas. Well, hello, you guys. Welcome back to the chat. I see Mujan Glider. Hello, breakers. What up? Yo, I see Super D in the chat. What up, Super D? It's showtime. Showtime synergy. Because if you're a real one, because a lot of people out here, it's Gen X hour, right? If there was a cartoon on, it didn't matter what it was, like real rap. Like, I guess there were boy and girl cartoons. We watched all of it, right? I watched Strawberry Shortcake. I watched the Snorks. I watched all that stuff. Didn't matter. And when Jim and the Holograms came on with tight production, right? It was just as good as well, it's not just as good as G.I. Joe and Transformers Hour. But Jim was dope. Let's get a sip of coffee. My first sip of coffee is for Jim and the Holograms. Let's give a sip of coffee for Cartoons for Everyone. Guys, welcome back to the show. There's a lot going on. I have a lot to talk about. Breakers. You know, I, I a little bit of a wait. What's the faux line? I fancy myself a scientist. What does he say? I'm a little bit of a scientist myself. A little bit of a breaker myself. I was the worst break dancer ever. And when I was in sixth grade, seventh grade, I had home ec, and I my mother was very good with sewing machine. At one point in her life, she was, I guess you would call her a seamstress. Like she would make people things, and she would kind of like make her own patterns. And she did like modern stuff. She started doing like bags and clutch bags and things like that. And I was like, Ma, I got to take home ec. And she was like, What are you going to do? I was like, I'm going to make a windbreaker. So, like, all of us 80s babies know that when you do your backspin, you need a swishy surface that helps with your kineticism. So I picked out the material. I got on the sewing machine. I made I don't know what I did, but I must have like sewed the pat. I must have sewn the pieces wrong because it was almost like a what do you call it, like a midriff shirt. Like the stomach kind of came up like this, but I wore it. And I did a really crappy backspin. Uh, but yeah, I consider myself a little bit of a breaker. So let's see who's in the chat. Let's do a roll call. And guys, I was telling you now that on my StreamYard command center, there's all this stuff, and it's like the chat window is like this big, and I can't see what's going on. And that the Guitar Hero chat is so small, I can't read it. And I got my reading glasses on. So if I seem a little out of sorts, that's why I have to kind of keep scrolling up. So, all right, let's see who's here. Yo, Joseph. Well, hello. Good to see you. I see Suze. What up, Suze? I see Ronaldo, stick of the planet. Hello, hello, Ronaldo. Good to see you. I see Notorious. JRD. Man, see, I can't. Guys, I may have to go to another platform. This is ridiculous. But Suze asked a question earlier in the chat, and I didn't get to it yet. But I see the Waringos. What up, Matt and Suze? Good to see you, guys. You've been missing the show. Matt says we sorely missed the show. 2 heroes in a row. Ugh. Shout out to the Waringos of the mighty Waringo dynasty. Happy birthday, Mike. Yeah, there's a lot going on. This is a wild time of year, and I'd like to talk about that. Sean Chai, greetings from the land down under. I see ID. You. Good to see you, brother. Pyro, y'all. All types of superstars up in here. Good to see you. Yeah, so sorry about this. Like, I usually can just like switch from banner to banner, but there's like everything's kind of collapsing on itself. I'm gonna have to write a strongly worded letter to StreamYard. Yo, I see America. This is you, Tom Zoller. What up, Tom Zoller? Tom's talking about. Well, see, the chat is talking about HeroesCon because HeroesCon just happened in North Carolina. Shout out to Shelton Drum, who runs a mighty fine comic book convention. I was not at HeroesCon. I have been severely limiting my comic book conventions over the last couple of years. Some of you may have paid attention to that. Some of you may have not. But this kind of goes into my, it's not exactly news. If you follow me on social, you kind of see my machinations in play. But I'm sure a lot of people you ain't really for real paying attention. Yo, Mike, what up? Good to see you, man. Soda break. Yo, soda break with JN. I love it. I don't really drink soda anymore. You know, sometimes we talk about, you could come out of a Narnia armoire and kind of jump down and surprise your 9-year-old self or your 10 or 11-year-old self about the future, about being old, and like, yo, you're not going to believe this, but there are time cops chasing me right now. I got to go. Right? Or, you're not going to believe this. Every video game you ever wanted is in this little thing, and you can put it in your pocket. And you'd be like, whoa. I would tell my younger self, you know what? You're not going to really drink soda anymore. I'd be like, whoa. Because I used to drink soda like it was my job. But, I'm trying to get my deal together. Yeah, I mean, so I just, maybe the last couple of years, try to drink a lot of water. For my people out there, I don't know if Kurtz or some Max is here, swab, sip water, and build. Try to drink more water. And then I started getting into seltzer. And it's funny, I never thought I'd drink seltzer, but I like seltzer. And then we got a soda stream. It's a wrap. I saw some people who were trying to like diss the soda stream. It's like, do you know how expensive that is? You could just buy cans, but isn't that the point to not buy cans of seltzer? All right, by Anna. Hello, good to see you. Anna has been kind of hanging out with us, who I think has completed their second pencil to pencil, and maybe this is the second coffee break. Anna, were you at coffee break 2 weeks ago? I can't remember. Good to see you. ID says Little League season is over, so I'm back on. Yo, salute. How was the season, bro? I'm trying to see what else is in here. JRD with the breakdancing joke. So for all of you guys that went, did you have a good time at Heroes? And it's also kind of after coming back from a convention. We tell you this stuff all the time. We talk about con crud. Not even talking about like other type of bugs out there, like COVID's still out there, y'all. I just heard somebody. I talked to somebody today, and they're like, "Yo, I got COVID." I'm like, "Damn." But yeah, be careful out there. I haven't heard any con crud stories, but here's one thing that I'm glad that I don't see anymore so much is you ready for this? And some of you are probably guilty of this, and maybe I'll absolve you of your sins. But I have never signed one for or condone an unsolicited stick pic. And what I mean by that is people who put on Facebook, oh, got COVID. Like, I don't want to see your pregnancy test. I don't want to see the two stripes. What are you doing that for? Nobody needs to see that. Keep your stick pics to yourself. But anyway, Jared D says, I mostly drink herbal tea, herbals. Herbals. Tea, water, and the occasional ginger ale zero. I haven't really messed with ginger ale zero. But yo, a Schweppes is very effervescent. Yo, it may be June, but guess what? Very soon it's going to be July. What up? My man Julian Lytle's in the building. Shout out to the DMV. Good to see you, my man. What's goody in the hoodie? Matt says, I drink mostly water, but I've gotten obsessed with those bottled frappuccinos from Starbucks. Ooh, we get them free within reason at work. Yeah, you can only drink so many of those, and then you start getting the Jimmy legs, right? You gotta be careful. Yo, ID said second place in the county. That's what's up. Hold up the belt. I love it. Hello, Mama Carla. Good to see you, my love. Um, my heart is with you. Great to see you. It's good to see you back in the mix. Please hang out with us, and everybody, let's lay hands on Mama Carla. Give us some love. Ronaldo. It's all about the lighting with stick pics. You can just put it in someone's face. Yo, and also it's really funny that COVID tests look frighteningly similar to pregnancy tests. IJS. But yeah, I don't know who started that trend. Like, yo, I'm gonna post this giant ass picture of this COVID test and just go, well, or I didn't get it. Like, man, keep that. I mean, don't keep it to yourself. But you don't need to advertise that like Disco Stew. You don't advertise. Sue says, no stick or anything that rhymes with stick fits. You heard it here first from producer Sue's. Let's not break any FCC rules. Shanchai says, sorry. Shanchai says, I just did Supernova last weekend and magically didn't get con crud. Didn't lose my voice or anything. Very weird. What is Supernova? Not Champagne Supernova Oasis, but that sounds like a outdoor jammy jam. Tell us about Supernova. GRD said, I masked up, but I'm an at-risk dude medically, so it makes sense for me to come. And I still say, you do what you got to do. And it always gets a little weird when people start talking about masks or no mask, whatever. You do what you want to do. It's all good. Like I remember, this is, I'm not flexing, but it's like, I remember very succinctly when I visited Tokyo. This is like 2014 when I went a couple times in the same kind of period of time. And like there's some stuff like, I wasn't shocked by it. I was aware of things just because I, really enjoy that culture. But you just see a lot of people walking around with masks on. It's just, and my co-teacher, other group leader who I was there with, because I went with my college class. And just think about trying to keep 25 freshman otaku nerds to keep their heads from exploding walking through Akihabara. So we'll just leave it there. But she had said, and I knew a little bit about this. It's like, oh well, this is just part of. She's Japanese. She's like, this is just part of the culture. Our thing is that if you're sick you don't want to get others sick. So you keep your germs to yourself. And I was like, that makes sense. And like, that was like the pandemic wasn't even in the sphere yet. And I was just like, that makes a lot of sense. So then a couple of years later, somebody I knew who lives in New York, was a young guy, was walking down the street and this tour bus stopped in front of him and all these little Japanese people got off the bus and they all had masks on. And he got so offended. He was like, yo, how you gonna come to my town and what, the air so bad you not need to wear a mask? Like what's I was like, no, 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 that's not what the and he was off to the races. You know what I'm saying? I was like, that's not why they okay, man. And then here, then we fast forward and then so now like I'm starting to see it and I understand it's like, people do what they gotta do and you shouldn't be freaked out by it. That's all I'm saying. July says, I still wear masks most of the time every day. People are dirty. Yo, word up. So Shai says, Supernova is a pop culture convention here in Ozland, almost identical to Oz Comic Con, but not sure which American cons it would be like. Probably similar to your Comic Con, but a lot smaller. I need to connect. I need to come to Supernova. I think I'm going to need an attaché. That sounds really cool. And how many days is that show? Is it like 4 days, 5 days, or is it shorter? Um, so yeah, that was kind of like a thing. And well, anyway, I said all that to say that I haven't heard anybody complaining about getting sick from Heroes Con. So the other thing I was going to talk about real quick is that kind of feeding into the thing that I have been doing a lot of comic book conventions, some for some reasons that I won't publicly get into, but you won't see me at Baltimore Comic Con for some time. That's a whole other thing. But beyond that, I don't do a lot of things because I'm kind of I'm shunted in this space where I'm kind of like going right to where the I'm going to the water rather than try to lead people somewhere else. So little backstory. When I self-published Leon, Protector of the Playground, and the same shows that I was going to for a long time, all of a sudden there was a lot of interest. Leon seemed to be interesting, and uh, people were picking it up. And probably for the first time in my career, I started selling out. I would sell out of the show, and it's still surprising to me anytime that happens. But so, like, one of my biggest memories was I was at it may have been New York Comic Con 2018, something like that. And I had a really good spot on an artist alley. And Saturday morning, I was out of books. Like I was out. And some people like half step about selling out. Like you'll see people like jumping around on it, and then they're like, "Yo, fam, I sold out of books, but you only bought like 10." Like that's not really a flex. But not to say what I did was anything different. But let's just say I bought enough stock to get through a 4-day convention, and it was all gone on Saturday. And I was like, "Huh, that's a good problem, right?" And that continued to happen. And at one point, I went, you know what? I think something's going on here. Maybe I need to be where the people are rather than kind of like laying a rabbit trap in the middle of the forest, hoping somebody sees this kid graphic novel that they want. So I started changing my focus. So it's like, I need to go to library conferences and I need to go to like ALA, and BEA, and all these alphabet soup things that people are just starting to know about. Like ALA now and that's the American Library Association, now come up later, that they're starting to have an artist alley because there's a lot of independents and self-publishers who are trying to get their stuff in bookstores, and this is not easy, y'all. And that whole traditional book channel is really tough. And there's a lot of things that knock you off off the mountain really quick. Like if your book's not set up to be in that space, like you don't have ISBN numbers. Oh, I need an IS. Yeah, they don't want it. For anybody that's ever made a comic book and put it out on consignment and you took it to a comic book store and they're like, you know what, I can't boop it because you don't have a thing on it. I'm just going to put a sticker on it. Well, don't put a stick. All those things are kind of part and parcel, but the this new world is opening up to self publishers and people that are trying to like come in on their own boat. And I was like, yeah, that's exactly where I need to be. And I love comic book divisions. I'm a comic book guy, but I figured out I have to shunt my attention in different places. So I love seeing the pictures of heroes. I love seeing the pictures of Baltimore and all that kind of stuff. But when people ask, "Are you going?" Probably not. I will go to things if I'm invited, if they set me up. And also, like, I'll probably go to New York Comic Con because I'm probably out there doing signings. So that's the other thing. So, hey, Bill, what up? Bill Donald's on the chat. I just heard that BookCon is coming back. BookCon was not a thing, and it's going to be a thing in 2026. You gotta boop it. You know what I mean? I can't boop this book. You gotta boop that. Sean Choi says about Supernova, they're usually two shows back to back. So guess we'll do maybe Sydney one weekend and Perth the next. And tours around. Yo, that sounds real dope. I'll need to start looking into that. Or maybe hit me up. I'd love to talk about that. That's great. Um, also, Sean Choi says, we'd love for you to come, but understand it's quite a trek to get here, especially because they're tiny. Only 2 days. Well, if you can make a week out of it, that's it. And JRD says, sorry, I'm going backwards because, again, I'm sorry, I'm fighting with the chat. JRD says, well, you do more book shows now. It's very true. I do a lot of like these conferences. I do book festivals. I do book fairs. Well, sometimes I'll do a Scholastic book fair if I know the educator and they invite me in. And that's fun for the kids. Like they come into the, kind of refurbished room in their school with all the Scholastic book fair stuff. And I'm sitting there. And then somebody's like, look, kids, this is an author. And they're like, but yeah, so like my schism has changed. Sean Chay says, how do we get through a whole pandemic and people still don't understand masks are for keeping germs in? Didn't know. I didn't know. All right, let's move down. Bill and Adriana were at Heroes, and Bill says BT Dubs, Stone Cold Steve Conley was one aisle over for me and Adriana. What a class act. Steve Conley's a good dude. And I actually texted him yesterday and I said, I'm sorry I give you nicknames, and he went LOL. But aren't they great? I am pretty good at giving people nicknames. I'm just saying, right, JRD? Because Steve is such the nicest, sweetest human being. And then to think he's like Rage Monsters, Steve Austin, like stopping a mud hole in somebody and walking it dry. It's funny. That's why Bill Bixby of webcomics is funny, because Steve is such a sweet guy. You don't want to get him angry. When he sees those proofs, they better be straight. That's right. Boot me, baby. So yeah, let's see. TZ put dirt on his name. He not that great. Just JK, he's super great. That's right, Tom Zoller. Tom Zoller, you are also super great. Oh, shots fired. So, yeah, all right. So we're at the halfway point, and I think this will be a good time to do an ID. Look, I've been kind of running these things where I haven't done an ID till the end, trying to get back to basics, and then there might be some changes, you guys. There may be some changes, but let's try to do an ID. What do you think? You're watching Coffee Break with JM with your boy JM. That's right, you guys. You need this. You needs this precious. On top of all the plates that I spin, on top of all the mini hats that I wear, Coffee Break with JN is near and dear to my heart. I was somewhere and I was trying. I think I was at the dentist, and I was telling them, I was like, "Oh yeah, so I do. I podcast," and they're like, "What, Mister Jabbar? What are you talking about?" Like, yeah, I've been doing these things, and I do a I do a couple things, and I do this one thing where I drink a cup of coffee, and they're like, "What?" I was like, "It's great. It's a whole community. We have our own little like riffing thing, and we have inside jokes, and it's great. You should watch it." And they're like, "I don't know," but then once you kind of get them in, they're like, "Yeah, that's like the Disney magic when you get hugged by Goofy." But just be careful if you're out in the street and you get hugged by a Goofy. That means something else. You need to get out of there. But anyway, I wear many hats, and I also go by many names. Philadelphia's favorite son is one of them. Come on, Ronaldo, you got to help me out. John, what is the one you always try to make work? John Philip Sousa. The administrator of this facility, and wait a minute, hold on, let me get through the ID. Let me get through the ID. Yo, what up, Chris? Y'all messing me up. Don't let me get through the ID. Oh, there it is, John Philly Sousa. There it is, Philly Seymour Hoffman, and also your internet hairbrusher and best friend. What happens here? We get to hang out with my caffeines. You know who you are, caffeines. Ooh, I like that one. That's a nice one. Really, Donnie. My caffeines, you know who you are, caffeines. I'm gonna put this joint on the screen. Friends and regulars, not decaf. That's right. We're brown tops, not orange tops. You guys watch me drink a cup of coffee and run my mouth, and when I'm out of coffee, you know what happens. But we're gonna save it for later. Um, yeah. So what was I saying? Okay, so last last week, I don't know where you live. We all have lived somewhere, right? I don't know where you live, but we had we had a crazy freak storm. In the freak storm, I'm sure a lot of stuff going on in the world. I feel like Cobra has got the mass device. The oh, no, that's two other. Is it? That's not the same special. The mass device is one, and the weather dominator is another, right? Cobra's got the weather dominator. Yeah, we get these freak storms. It was 5:30, something like that in the afternoon, and I'm out on the. You know what this is, guys? I was grilling. That's what I'm setting it off on the grill, and I look up like the Black Hole Sun video. Shout out to Soundgarden, and it's just like, phew, like it was light, then it wasn't light, and I was like, uh oh. It was like Batista came out to his ring entrance. It was just like it was wild, and then the power went out, and it was over like 10, 10, like it was over in 10 minutes. The power never came back on. Anna says yesterday it was 101 degrees. And it started hail. See, thunder, lightning, right? And remember what I said, chat. That was Thursday. My power came back on Sunday afternoon. Let's let that sink in. So my power was out for 4 days, and then also we happened to be in the middle of a heat wave, so that was not great. I thought this would be a really good topic to bring up with the chat, because I had to do some extreme things. I had to throw out. Oh man, again, these are like I'm having good problems. No one was hurt. One of my neighbors had a tree from the other neighbor's yard not go through their house, but it like knocked their power lines down, like off of the power grid. So I don't know if their power even came back on. I think they had to dip. It's just like I got, you can't stay here anymore. You got to get out of there. Um, but they had to throw out all the food. Yeah, that really hurts. I had to throw out all the food, and we kind of stocked up for like the summer, right? Because the summer was for grilling and chilling, and had to just get rid of that. It's not fun. So I wanted to ask you guys how you guys do with blackouts or brownouts. And I'm having some internetness. Hopefully this will change. So yeah, let's talk about that. Does anybody have a generator? Yeah, not great. Matt says we got hit too. It dropped a tree on our neighbor's car. Oh, we didn't lose power though. That's good. Like I heard stories of people got trapped in cars that got like the trees are straight. Then you drive through the neighborhood and just see the carnage, like some big old trees, just like. Meh. And I told you guys a while ago that lightning hit a tree outside the house, and I think it hit the cable line, and the current traveled up the cable line and blew out the cable boxes. It like cooked my living room television. Like the HDMI cord was fried. Luckily, the rest of the TV worked. It's crazy. That's why when we were kids, Grandma said, "Boy, you better get off that phone and light this store." Also, let's mix this up with old wives' tales that your folks or your family institute when powers like when there's a storm. Like you have to go sit in the bathtub when it's lightning out. TZ says, a couple years ago, we had huge storms, lost power for a week. Thankfully, I have a portable generator. Had to use it a second time last year too. That's the talk of the neighborhood. Like some people have generators, they're loud, and it's like, could buy a new car, get a generator. And I live in a city, so generally, when things like this happen, they don't. It doesn't. It's not like I live out in the woods somewhere. It's like somebody's going to fix it, right? But and then you start to see the tensions start to rise, like on the neighborhood Facebook chat thing. People are just like, they're freaking out. It's like, yo, everybody in the area doesn't have powers, and it's just not you. Just be patient. But yeah, like, what do you guys do? Mike says, my shock is the amount of roads buckling and bridges that had to be sprayed down to cool down. Wow. Yo, we spraying down bridges. Yeah, is that just from the heat? Sean Shai says, woof, that's terrible. That's really unacceptable. What happens for people on in-home life support system? You better have some backup plans. You better have like a middle-aged son that can come pick you up in the truck and get you out of there. It's just like, that stuff happens, but it's not like, oh, but Mrs. Smith, what about her? It's like the whole block is out. So you just got to do for self. Jared D says, I generally have to refrain from posting on such boards. Who are we eating first? I stay off of those boards. Like, what is it, next door and all of that? Because it's always somebody trying to be a jokester. And that's just, I already have my hackles up when people are trying to be funny when I'm trying to conduct business. But it's like, especially in like an informational space, like your neighborhood Facebook community group or something like that, and there's somebody like, Oh, there's a fox that just ran through the neighborhood. Then somebody's like, oh, must taste good with like a a mango chutney. And it's like, you're not needed, bro. I don't know. I don't. I'm not a fan. Bill says, yeah, the road buckling caused some cars that have Dukes of Hazard moments. Oh my god. Mike says all medical facilities have to have specific generation support, though, or they are evacuated to ER. Wow. I'm not even talking about you, JRD, but you know what I'm saying. Uh, Bill says, "Oh, Ring Neighbor app, neighborhood gossip machine." Eternity forever. What up, Eternity? Good to see you. And fava beans. Um. So yeah, what Bill said? Bill is. We're touching on that. Pause. There's always a who's this guy coming up my driveway, and then a response of call the cops. Man, you'll see some like you'll see. It's just some stories, man. But people are they're just everybody's just scared of stuff. Everybody's always scared of something. Uh, Jared D says, I hate those neighborhood boards because for the most part it's just idiots trying to flex their influence like they're Congress, like you're the mayor of the neighborhood. I log on, pay my stupid high fees, and log out. I like it. Mama Carla says it very succinctly. Some folks are just jerky. Yup. How about not the jerky thing, but how about does anybody have disaster preparedness? Because here's something that I found out. Like first there's people who can you flush your toilet? Depends on where you live and how your system's set up. Can't flush your toilet, or better chase it with some water, or you better go out in the woods. Sue says, I fill up buckets of water. Make sure we have charcoal to grill. We have a small generator, but have never used it. A battery powered fan is awesome. I added solid lanterns solar lanterns that will charge your cell phones. Yeah, we need to get one of those. Well, Mike, we had a coyote in our neighborhood and a hawk, a hack chasing the small dog. People laugh at that. I'm a really old Survivor fan, and like when Survivor started, it was like the most amazing thing in the world to me. And we used to have Survivor parties, and people would come over and watch the OG cast, like Richard Hatch. No, it was a Richard Hatch, right? That was the guy that won, and Susan Hack, Jeff, Jeff, he's naked, Jeff. So anytime I hear somebody say Hawk, I go the Hack. What's that? What's it making that noise? It's a Hack. Jared says, my disaster preparedness is having enough gas in the car to drive to where there's power. It's not a bad thing. How many people come home at night and you're the Johns on E or the little like get gas now idiot light is flashing and you're like, I'll do it in the morning. And you always forget to do it in the morning. Bill says we have a box of Shabbos candles and waterproof matches. Also, we have a box of Department of Defense rations. Not great tasting, but they last, yo. I like the candles. That's right, not Apollo Hatch. Yo, I'm fighting with this chat. A man called Hack. Mama Carla just has raccoons and possums. Possums are scary. Possums are scary. Also, I saw one of those videos where somebody's like out in their backyard and there's just like there's something like shaking and making noises, and you just see the camera going up to this guy's grill, and it's like one of those big two two hooders, like four burner grills, and he goes and opens his drawer, and there's a mama possum and all these little possums like suckling on his possum, and he opens the drawer, and the thing is like it's slowly. How did a family of possums get in your grill drawer? That's crazy. Silver hacks. Oh man, that's really funny. Hack the Slayer. Hack. Sue says, "Oh yeah, I fill up all the cars with gas, and we have at least a battery-powered lamp for every room. I like it." Hmm. Possums get a bad rap. They keep ticks and grubs down, and they can't get Lyme disease. Well, that's good to know. That's this room is full of hacks. These are life hacks. Yo, Comic Tropes, what's up? Good to see you, Chris. Comic Tropes, headed by Chris Pierce, one of the dopest YouTube channels out there. Go follow Comic Tropes. Chris, I'm out of the loop. What's going on the channel? What's kind of your newest series you're doing? Mama Carla says I have a lot of solar lights and candles. Seattle Seahawks. I'm so easy to make laugh. Also, Chris chimes in with the caffeine riff because I think it's still weird to some people that I'm doing this at 9 p.m. EST. 'Cause this is my chill time. This is when I kind of settle in. I have my last coffee for the night, maybe do a couple more hours at the desk, and then I head in. I'm not a morning Joe guy, and then I got the Jimmy legs the rest of the night. Like, plus they also say, and some of my ADHDers in this room will say that coffee may have a reverse effect on you. Like coffee calms me down; it doesn't hype me up. Ronaldo says, "Note to self: get a possum for a pet." Wait, hacksaw, hacksaw, Jim Duggan. That's hard to say. Comic tropes. Chris says, "Just wanted to shoot good vibes with you, pal. You know I love you." Um, did you just say you had Kubert on? Just did Joe Kubert last week, and now working on an analysis of All Star Superman. That's Quiet Leaves, right? Matt says, I had a friend who had a pet possum when he was a kid. That's a big nope. That's a big no for Philadelphia. That's right. Hit the like button. Good. Tell him I'm turning teen. Tell him to hit that like button. Comic tropes. See, Mike's a fan. Mike says, Chris, I just finished the Joe Kubert biography. I visited the school in May when I moved to Madison, New Jersey. That's what's up. Yeah, and there's some good people out here doing good content, much like the JNN, Jamar Nicholas Network. Shout out to Ronaldo with the JNN stickers. You know where your bread is buttered. Jared D says, yep, when you're chemically ADHD, stimulants and suppressants have the reverse effect. Your system reverses their chemical effect. Comic Trope says, you have fostered a smart and kind community here. Are you reading anything new that you love? Oh, you're so sweet. I'm deep in graphic novel land right now. I have hold on, let me go see. I'm not reading it yet, but let me go see. Hold on, you guys. All right, I'm going over to my stack next to my reading chair. I am working on Speechless by my buddy Aaron Nell Stanky, who does Mr. Wolf's class. Uh, Aaron is a fantastic cartoonist, and what I love about Aaron, Mr. Wolf's class, it kind of looks like, huh? But then you're like, yo, Aaron used to be a school teacher, and Mr. Wolf is like, it used to be I think it was a web comic or a mini comic he was doing, and it was just kind of like the foibles of like dealing with 30 kids in a class, but they're all animals. And I have a couple of his originals, and one's like, Mr. Wolf, Mr. Wolf. Yeah. Oh, did you have to use the bathroom? No. It is like the kid's got like a wet spot on his pants. Like I like teacher humor, but this is a graphic novel he just did that is outside of the Mr. Wolf's universe, and I haven't gotten into it. You see the spines I haven't cracked. This is the arc. I haven't started that yet. Bone boss. I read all the Bone. This is great. This is from my buddy Brad Geiger. You know Brad Geiger, uh, one of the co-host of Comic Lab with Dave Kellett, and also Brad is in my chapter, the Philadelphia chapter of the NCS. And this is a trade he did with Chris Giarrusso, who's also one of my favorite cartoonists, called Tales from the Con. And if you've ever had to sit through a comic book convention, very apropos, you guys, it's kind of like the musings of somebody who's trapped behind a con table. And I got this from my library. This is called Low Orbit by Casimir Lee. And I've heard really good things about this. I have no idea what it's about, but I'm going to find out soon. I love the style. And it's just like, oh man, there's like people making graphic novels who like grew up reading graphic novels. And it's like a whole other lane that, we didn't come from that world. So my graphic novels may have like a comic book vibe to them more than a different type of vibe. I don't know. You guys can tell me how that reads. Work, 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 work. Yo, it's real, man. That's all we're doing is working. Anna says, go back to the beginning of this. A possum died in my backyard. Now it's buried there. Did it just like rot, or did you get rid of it? Are we doing? Are we doing? Jared D says Chris was a hero, so I miss seeing him. I need to get the book. Chris is killing it with these mini Marvels covers. I think he did kind of like a homage to the Ohatmu official handbook of the Marvel Universe. Where all the characters are running that way. And his mini Marvel stuff is so dope. But I still love G-Man. Shout out to G-Man. Local Man at Image. Okay. Sorry guys, I'm really struggling with this chat. It turns he says that was a big book. What's the page count on Low Orbit? It is 331 pages. I love it. That's a big book. Oh, I'm sorry, Jared. See, I'm yawning after drinking coffee. My friend Shing Kaur does amazing books. If y'all are looking for books, try Legend of Auntie Poe. Oh, that sounds cool. You hear that, Brad and Chris Giarrusso, all the way in Australia. Sean Chai says, oh yeah, I've heard of Tales from the Con. My first strip actually went into my con experiences a bit. Thanks for reminding me about that. I'll have to check it out. See, all roads lead through Coffee Break with JM. Talking about Sean Chai's possum. Let it go. That's a big burrito. Yo, Reed Punk Taco, shout out to my man Adam. Speaking of ALA, all there's a lot of people traveling to Philly. I hope you guys have a good experience because I've rep Philly so much. I don't want to hear it if something goes bad. But we told y'all don't go and get some bum cheesesteaks out there. I'm not going with you, but if anybody needs cheesesteak recommendations, I'll tell you where to go. Oh, Adam, I already gave you a cheesesteak rec, so you good. 330 pages. That's a solid coffee table book size. Yeah, it's good. And there's some really smart cartooning in here. Yeah, I can't wait to read this. And I don't know how I heard about this. I've been trying to do this new thing of like I don't know. Um, I'm gonna hold on. Let's do a ones and twos, and you guys know what the ones and twos are. You use your keyboard or phone to answer my question. So if you have an active library card, put a one in the chat. If you have an active library card and actually go to the library and use it, put a two in the chat. If you, how about this one? If you have never had a well, that's silly. Doesn't everybody have a library card? If you haven't had a library card since you were a kid, put a three in the chat. Let's see what you guys come up with. Yo, peace. See you, brother. Be safe. You don't want to know, bro. You don't even want to know. All right, hold on. Let's see. Adam says we go to the library at least once a week. How cool is that? Shout out to your library. There's a lot of ones in the chat. Jared D one, Matt one, Adam one. Wait, didn't Jared D just put one? Mama Carla two. So that means you go to the library. Sue's one. Super D two. Super D, what are you getting at the library? Because this is funny because you can get video games at the library. You can get DVDs at the library. You can get CDs. Yo, I heard you like CDs. And also the digital thing. Like a lot of the libraries have like some sort of like a phone app or some sort of digital component where you can take out ebooks or like stream movies and stuff. It's crazy. So if like you're not going to like use your library, y'all. Ronaldo says 1.5 have a library card but don't remember the last one I went in. Get that renewed. Oh, Anna, the question was, do you go to the library? Do you have a library card? One. Do you have a library card and actually go to the library and use it? Two. And if you haven't had a library card since you were a kid? Three. Oh, okay. Wow. Jared D says we go twice a month. We can check out the up to 50 items. Are they all books or are they mixed up with stuff? See, because that's the thing. Like, I love when I go to the library. I also love when I go to the library, and there are people there just like living their lives. Anna, get your library card. Get your library card game up. You guys already saw that. Hold on. This might be a flex. That I was asked by the library people for 2 years in a row, you guys, to be on team library. This is a while ago. Leon, blah, 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 shows that you don't have to be super. Leon said, library card sign up month is September. That's right. Repping Philly Free Library. Get your weight up. Get your library card. Use that. I like buying stuff. But you know what? You go to the library, right? And you just see there's a whole vibe to it. And you might be like, huh, I can like take this home and then I can take it back. Oh, that was a key fob. Yeah, we had key fobs for ours for a while. You can even get instruments at our library. Yo, can I get that French horn? Now you know what? I want to get I want to get that bassoon. Thanks. Marimba. The marimbas checked out again? Oh no. That's sinister. That's what put Borders out of business. All those young kids going to the manga section and sitting on the floor and reading whole ass Naruto and then leaving. Like, yo, you gotta buy something. That's great. Oh, guys, we're in overtime. Where'd the time go? But I'm gonna start wrapping this up. But this was fun. So we covered a lot. And also, there's some things I got to do after the Sue's pose. Sue's Raringo report to the dance floor. Yo, when that guy gonna bring the didgeridoo back? Yo, I've been in here for 3 months. Yo, the didgeridoo still out? That's so funny. That's fantastic. Did the Ringos go to bed? Did I miss it? Sue's report to the dance floor. Oh, see, Mama Carly, I'm glad that I could have this here for you. All my love. So, all right, okay. All right, Matt, you're saying it, but I need to. Oh, here you go. No parking. No parking on the dance floor. All right, guys, we're about to get ready. You guys need this. We need this, precious. All right, let me get my act together here. All right, there's that. There's that. There's that. All right, you guys. I put my hand upon your hip. Then I dip, you dip, we dip. It's almost like I stopped breathing. I can't breath. It takes a breath. Yo, remember what was my man Tay Zante? What was the chocolate rain kid? That young kid who had the deep voice. Chocolate rain. And then it would say on the thing, takes he needs to take a breathe or something like that. Takes breath. Because he would sing and then he'd like move away from the mic. Yo, I stopped breath. Oh, also before we go, because I'm riffing tonight and this was fun. A couple of things to get out the way. I'm not a stickler. I'm not a grammar Nazi. I'm not any of those things. But there's some things that kind of get my goat that burns my toast. One is when people get breathe and breath wrong when they're spelling things. Like, oh man, I was out of yo man, you need to slow down in breath. No, it's breathe, buddy. And another one, I put this on my Facebook, and I've been watching a lot of like battle rep, like if you're in the tabletop gaming, you watch some guys play Warhammer on this giant table with all these little miniatures on it, and the guys are like talking through the game, like, okay, so I got to move these dudes, so that means I got to roll one dice. Okay, I'm gonna roll one dice. It's die. It's not dice. Singular of dice is die. Plural of dice is dice. And I put this in my Facebook, and for some reason, people were confused. They're like, "Who's saying dices out here? Nobody's saying dices. People are calling one die, one die a dice. It's a die." Ugh. Oh, interesting. Anna says, "I hate when people say times instead of multiplied by." It's like 6 times 6. It should be 6 multiplied by oh, that's interesting. They do grind my gears. Chalk. What? Your borders at Omaha to cat dancer? That's spicy. That's spicy. Yeah, that's crazy. Chocolate rain. Or X, 5X, 10X. Also, see, July, you're going to try to make sense of this. I think people just don't know better. Oh, loose and lose. Yeah, the people do that a lot. Matt says Schwarzenegger saying advices and pumping iron always cracks me up. There's an old YouTuber that I follow, Bithead 1000, and you should go check him out. He started this thing as, and I probably crib a lot of my style for coffee break from Bithead 1000. And I think he's been on YouTube. How long has YouTube been around? Like 20 years now? He's been on YouTube for like 11, 12, 13 years. And it started as he was like kind of like our age, and he was like, I guess he was a big video game dude back when he was younger, and then you know went through his life, whatever, and then he was just like, you know what, I'm gonna start going to garage sales, and he was like trying to pick up all these games, and he would talk about them, and then he's kind of like this weird savant guy where he can build anything. I thought he was an engineer, but I don't think that's what he does with his real life. And if he had like, I think we're like Madden games, and he doesn't like sports games, and he would figure out contraptions to destroy these games. Like he would go Madden '06, and he'd throw it on the ground and then back his car over it. Like, he was doing stunts. And then it turned into a thing where his wife forbade him for doing the show in their house. So he went out to his shed, and he's got this game shed that's like, if you've been watching him, it's almost like on Animal Crossing when you're like collecting stuff and now your room is filled with all this crap. He's got like all of this stuff in the background, and he has these cabinets that he opens up where all his Nintendo games are. And at the end of the show, like he built some contraption that kind of like raises the Nintendo shelf into the rafters of the shed, and he plays the Pee Wee's Playhouse exit music on his way out. Love Bithead 1000, but he does that. He goes, he's got like a Patreon show called Advices. Like, yo, ask me advices. I will tell you what I think. I'll answer your advices. So go check out Bithead 1000. Oh, Roger. I had someone say for all intents and purposes, yes. Because they don't know. They don't know. How about this one? This was back from at the day job. The physical year is over in July. It's fiscal. It's not physical. Oh, wow, that's deep. Actually, mine is hung and hanged. A picture is hung, a man is hanged. That's very true. Oh, yeah, specifically, that's specific. Oh, Bill says, is it laying down or lying down? I think it's lying down. Good night. We chased Carl out the room. That's so funny. That's so great. All right, you guys. Before I get out of here, I built this thing up, and I want to talk about it real quick. So it's happening right now, but the marketplace isn't open until Friday. Yours truly will be at the American Library Association summer conference. Um, one of my favorite parts of this program is that I get to do whatever I want. So what I'm doing is advertising where I'm going to be next. This is a giant deal. You guys all know that I have a lot to do with the National Cartoonist Society. And this is kind of like a new thing for us. somehow uh, made some really good connections at the ALA, and they graced us with a booth, not a booth, like an island, like a compound on the show floor of the ALA. So for you guys that don't know about it, this is kind of like a closed to the public conference. It's not Comic Con. That's filled with educators and publishers and agents and librarians and teachers and whomever. And it's all kind of focused towards books and getting books to the young people. So just imagine you're a librarian and you are in Peoria, Illinois, and there's just enough money in the budget to send you and Christine to Philly to ALA, and you get as much information as you can, as much stuff as you can, and you bring it back to the nest. There's a lot going on at these things. There's a lot of programming. There's a lot of big names doing keynotes. There's ticketed events. And I'm really surprised by how many author friends of mine are coming. Pause. And this thing moves every year. So there's a midwinter conference. This happens like January or something like that, at the end of like January, February. And this is the big Mama Cheeseburger. It is in my backyard this year. I was just like, yo, we got to be there. So the NCS will be there. I am manning our area. I have 16 cartoonists that are rotating through 3 days that are going to be tabling. I may be tabling. Haha. Didn't say I was sitting at the table. I'm running this thing. So I'm going to be in the area. I'm going to be walking around, talking to educators, talking to publishers, talking to you. That's right. That's you. And the greatest thing about this world is that they got to know who I am now. So that's really fantastic. Remember I told you about back in 2017 when I was like, I think I need to go find my people. My people are still comic book people, but these people over here know what I'm doing and want to support it in a whole different way. So also, I didn't put this on here. Let me see if I can put this on here real quick, you guys. I'm sorry. I know I need to get out of here too. We're running long. Pause. I don't know if I put shit. I might have to let this one go. Oh no, here it is. So also I have panels. I'm on a panel. I'm moderating a panel. I program the panels for the NCS. I'll put that up on my social. And then on Sunday, June 29th at 3 to 4, I'll be at the Scholastic booth signing stuff. So come see me if you're in town for that. You know where to find me. And it's going to be great. And you know what? You got to make your own magic. I had a really great conversation. I don't know if you guys saw this. My good buddy Jared Krasoska, Lunch Lady, Jared Krasoska, Sunshine, Hey Kiddo, Jared Krasoska, Jedi Academy, Jared did a origin story episode with me, and I kind of spilt my guts. So there's stuff that I've never talked about in public that's on that thing. Great conversation. A lot going on. So that's where I'll be at. And thank you guys. Jerry said, yeah, paid. We did the DC ALA in 19. Amazing show. Amazing. Wonderful. 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 Yeah, it's like, remember when I used to talk about conferences and trade shows versus Comic Cons? People got spoiled with Comic Cons. I know we all complain about the price of stuff because, yes, the rent is too damn high. I think the public price to get into this thing is like $200. And if you're like $200, yeah, because you're not supposed to be there. If you really want to be there, you're paying for that. D says, you keep going above and beyond. Save some spotlight. Bro, there's plenty of spotlight for y'all. This ain't pie. You know what I'm saying? And I appreciate that. But, I want to just at the end of all this, just inspire people to go do stuff. And I'll say it again. If I can do it, I don't know if you can do it. I know what I'm doing. What are you doing? And Super D is doing it. So I want to talk to you too soon, D. Not yet, but soon. So, guys, thank you so much. That's a lot. I fit a lot in, but we're going to call it. Guys, thank you so much. Oh, and to answer Susan's question for the beginning of this, I didn't mean to keep you guys in suspense. This might be the last coffee break with JN for a while. I'm on super deadline. I may shut this down for the month of July, and I might pick it back up in mid-August. Pencil to pencil, yeah, we'll still do that, but I think coffee break might have to take a breather. But if you're missing me, you know where to find me. It's time, y'all. I know a lot of y'all have been signing on for coffee break, and I love that you love it. If you can support your favorite Philadelphia cartoonist in a different way this month, take a shot. Patreon.com/Jamar Nicholas. The community is dope. It's as rich as this. We have our community chat. It's so fun and lively. The P and Dubs will tell you all about it. And let's get some new blood in there. All right. Tell them, Bill. It's for real, for real. All right. So good night, you guys. Good night, John Boy. Love y'all. Miss you all. You know what to do. Got to get it done. All right, you guys. Thank you so much. All right. Let's do those outros. Good night. Anna, I'm gonna miss probably. Come over to the Patreon. Check it out. I think you would love It Ain't Hard to Tell. Tell them about it, you guys. Tell them about It Ain't Hard to Tell. Thank you. Hold on. D says, shop's closing. I'll miss you. Come over to the Patreon. I even have a free thing. Because I'll be on the Patreon talking to my peeps. All right, guys, let's do it. You've been watching Coffee Break with JN with your boy JN. Guys, we chopped it up lovely. I went over. I didn't mean to go over. I went over because I had so much stuff to tell you guys about. Take this back and put it in your boombox and play it on the corner to your mans and them. What happened here tonight? You got to hang out with me. Oh, hold on. I have many names. Go back to Katamari. Da, 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 da. That's a great soundtrack. I did a couple names. You may know me as the administrator of this facility, Johnny Carson, Philly Donahue, Johnny Five. Johnny Five, Johnny Five, how do you feel? I feel alive. And our favorite, JRD, tell him, the captain of this ship, Jean-Luc Picard. And that was great. Did somebody just show me that thing with those 5 lamps? There are 4 Johns. What happened here tonight? You hung out with me and my caffeines, and we chopped it up lovely. You watched me drink a cup of coffee and run my mouth. And now that I'm out of coffee, somebody wake up Hicks. See you in August. But you don't have to join my Patreon. Make good choices.